What's up, guys? It's your girl Matt Cox with Maccouture Crafting. Let's get into this. I am super duper excited. As you guys know, Fabric Cafe came up with their top 10 patterns of 2021, and number 8 was this guy. And I looked at it and I was like, this has got to be the world's most perfect baby quilt. So I ran on over to JoAnn's and I did something I've never done before, and that is grabbed flannel. I've never worked with flannel before. I don't know anything about flannel. I didn't know anything about flannel. This is my first time. Turns out you can totally use flannel in a 3-yard quilt. Easy peasy, nothing major. Matter of fact, I really enjoyed the fact that it doesn't slip. Like once you set it up, it is set up. It's not moving around as much as cotton. It is so soft, and actually it feels kind of luxurious. Honestly, this feels like a kind of luxury baby quilt. This pattern takes no time to put together. And here we are. So this is simply a ton of half square triangles with a border around it. Now, Donna Robertson will tell you herself that yes, some of these you can figure out with the blink of the eye. However, who wants to figure out how big you need to cut stuff and do the measurements and all that and calculate how much fabric? No, it's all done for you at the very, very low price of $5.99. And oftentimes, if you sign up for a newsletter, she has these kind of rolling as free patterns, so you never know what you'll get for that month or week or whatnot. So don't be thinking that, oh, I can just make that, because you can, probably. However, why would you want to try to figure all that out? So this breaks down into a ton of half square triangles that are easy peasy to put together. It was fast, and it's just so soft, guys. I think that I went for a gender neutral palette. Me and a girlfriend of mine, we were talking about what we really thought colors that were gender neutral, because a lot of people don't want pink and purple and all that kind of stuff. So I was sticking to grays, yellows, that light mint green. I went through the section and I found that they really have some super nice printed flannels. Um, they look, just rich in color. And if you're looking for a flannel, a lot of the stores that I shop, my local stores, they just don't carry the selection at JoAnn's. JoAnn's, you can't beat them in the flannel section. You just can't. When it comes to my quilting cottons and stuff, I try to grab those from smaller stores. I try to patronize everybody. But like I always say, JoAnn's has a special place in everybody's crafty hearts for what they're good at. And flannel, I must say, I've never seen such a wide variety and selection of flannels. But I've also noticed that some of our designers are starting to come out with flannel lines too. So like Tula Pink, she's got her Holiday Homies line. There's somebody else who had like a Moda. I saw like a Moda layer cake that was all flannels, and that's awesome too. But again, this is pretty easy. It didn't take me long. I use my block lock ruler. A block lock ruler is a ruler that's specially made for half square triangles, and it locks. It's got a groove in the center that locks that seam, so that you're going to get pretty close to perfect half square triangles, so that you don't lose your points and things like that. So that if you're sewing a scant quarter, your stuff should come to a point without you losing any of it. And I seem to do a pretty good job on this quilt here. I was able to iron the flannel, and it pressed out beautifully. I love this as a baby quilt. It's the perfect size. My girlfriend says if somebody called you on a Thursday and said, hey, be at a baby shower on a Saturday, this is doable. Easily doable. You can knock this out without batting an eye. All right, if you guys want to get into it, please keep watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye. So this baby quilt is gorgeous, luxurious, easy, fast, fun, and flannel friendly. I think all these 3-yard quilts can be made in flannel, but especially this one, if you really want to give it that super soft baby, it's just going to be impressive. If you whip this out at a baby shower, everybody's just going to ooh and ah and oh, you made that. They're going to go crazy over this. And it's Chevron. Chevron is the pattern for baby, I swear. So in this section, you are in the nursery fabrics section of JoAnn's in Torrance, California. And you can find cotton, like the gauze, you can find regular cotton, you can find flannel, you can find fleece here, and I love it all. The reason why I didn't choose this one is because it's directional. So for this particular quilt, I thought, even though that could have gone in the border, I really didn't want to do that. I thought, no, we'll go with something that's tossed in the border. And tossed just means that it's not directional, so the animals are going every which direction. So it's not like I have to go and put it in a certain way. Now, I was trying to really stick with gender neutral, and a lot of the things that I saw were not gender neutral. They were going to lean one way or the next. So I was really trying to be cognizant and careful. I don't want to offend anybody. I know that there are a lot of moms out there just like me who does not want a whole bunch of pink anything. So I decided not to do that. And there you have a mix of minkies, which is kind of cool. To the left there, that green where you see the puckered minky. That's kind of neat and super soft and a fun change. Lots and lots of options here. Like I said in the intro, yes, we want to support our local quilt shops, but you really can't beat this section of JoAnn's as far as variety goes. You're going to get the most variety, I think, from here. So look, see, you know what? There are a lot of peaches now that I'm looking at it through the lens of the camera, and I could have done a peachy kind of color, maybe peach and gray, but I feel like that's leaning a direction too. Ooh, look at that blue, which is super duper saturated. I checked that one out. It's got animals on it, and I almost used it, but I felt like it was leaning a little bit boy. Even though I really don't think it leans all the way boy, but you see that blue, and I just, again, I don't want to upset anybody. And that right there, I just touched the fabric that I did end up using. Look at all the butterflies and rainbows. Lots of great options. I know that a lot of people like to stay pretty color like neutral, like pastelish for baby quilts, which is cool. But babies really do like a lot of contrast. So don't be scared to really give a baby quilt that's punched up with color. Kind of know your audience. Know the people that you're giving the baby quilt to. If not, do one just like me and do a nice animal gender neutral quilt. There was another print right here that really stuck out to me. I really wanted to use it, but I kept pulling like pinks or blues to go with it, so I just couldn't make it neutral enough. But that was an absolutely beautiful option too. All right, guys, let's get into how this comes together. Okay, we're gonna do a baby quilt. It is 1:30 right now. Let's see how long this baby quilt takes. We're using the Chevron pattern by 3 Yard Quilts. It is the #2 selling pattern of all time, or actually of last year. I think it's of last year. Let's go. I'm going to use this for the border, so this is going to be my fabric 3. This is going to be my fabric 2, which is going to be like the focal part of the chevron, and this will be like my neutral, my background. So this is going to be 1, 2, and 3. Let's get it. Cutting fabric is not going to be difficult. You are just going to smooth out, iron it, and do a lot of repetitive cutting for this. Again, this is made up of half square triangles. If you like to do half square triangles, this quilt is absolutely for you. Freshen up your edge and go on ahead and move that ruler over to the required size, which is given to you in the pattern. I am using this giraffe print, and it has this huge label right there, and it is not in the binding. That's actually on the fabric, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get enough of the half square triangles that I needed without using that. Turns out it works out just fine. You don't have to use the ones that come up like that. You will be able to get the number of half square triangles that you need. So the issue that I'm currently running into is the selvage. This is in the fabric. Like the selvage is back here. I can see where, oh, no, the selvage stops deep. No, that's not selvage. The selvage is here. They've printed on here I don't know if I'm going to have to use this or if I can get it. I don't know, we'll see. Because the strip measures 20, almost, it should measure about 21 and a half. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure. I'd like to get 3 of the size that we need out of this, but I don't know that I am. I don't know that I'm gonna make it, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna take off the most minuscule amount so that I can get this fold, and then I'm gonna rotate it and cut it down. With 3-yard quilts, you really want to be sure not to take off too much fabric. You really will need all of it in many of the patterns. I mean, on this one here, I was able to get away with not using one of the pieces, which is great. But you don't want to mess around and cut too much of your 1 yard because you only have the 1 yard. So be careful with that. So for the pieces with this border going through, it's in there, and so I am just going to separate this guy and put it to the side. Maybe I won't have to use him, maybe I will, I don't know, but this one is fine. We shall see. That might not bother some people. I mean, it's just the fabric traditions or something. I don't know what it says, but we'll see. Let's keep going. Turns out I needed 24 squares. I have 25 right here. I don't have to use the ones that are all with this name on them. I can take one out, and we are ready to roll with this guy. Let's do the next couple of colors. They're super fast. If you want to make this go even faster, fold your fabric in half. Have to do half of the cuts. If they're asking for 5 strips, yes, you're going to have to do one of those strips unrolled. If they're asking for, it just depends upon how many they're asking for. However, if you really want to be cooking with gas, go ahead and fold this in half. And I want to say it took like, I don't know, it didn't take very much time at all. I know I said it started at 1:30, but I don't know if I came back and looked how long that it took to cut this fabric. Guys, you're just cutting a ton of squares, and if you are comfortable with cutting fabric, you will do this in no time. This also might be one of those quilts that you do with your AccuQuilt system, so that if you have issues with using a rotary cutter or something like that, or you just want to go even faster, go ahead and roll this through your AccuQuilt. It's a great way to use it, and it's a great way to use some of those dies that just are a simple square. You know, it's not really applique, but it's really used for helping you get through something extremely fast. If you wanted to do several of these quilts at a time, AccuQuilt might be the way to go, because it will definitely cut back on the amount of cutting that you have to do. I mean, it will double your time. I'm a fan. These are going to be my border strips. Again, this is a tossed fabric, so you really can't tell which direction it is supposed to be turned. I love that I put this out on the border. Usually I won't use a lighter fabric in the border, but I think for a baby quilt it looks good and it was appropriate. Now I'm going to join all of my border strips end to end, all of them. Make sure that you lock your stitch when you start and stop. That is going to make it easier for you when it comes time to sew it to the rest of the quilt. Make sure that you have right size. That is the animal print touching itself. If you've never heard that term before, right sides together, the correct side. Okay, so we've cut all of our squares, and we cut our strips, then we cut them down into squares, and then super simply we are going to grab one color. So I'm going to do this on the lightest color here. It says to do it on fabric 2. I'm doing it on fabric 1, no big deal, because they are all the same block. And we are going to go tip to tip here and just draw a line for our half square triangle. So if your machine is big enough, you can actually do this, get the half square triangle without marking it at all, or you can use what I call a magic wand, and this has a 1/4 inch on either side. I prefer to just do this and sew down, because really what you want to do is sew a little less than a 1/4 of an inch, just maybe an 1/8, maybe even a 1/16 closest to the center. That just gives you more of a triangle to be able to square up. So you're going to take this and you're going to take your other square, you're going to put them right sides together, and you are going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of this line. Let's do it. Again, I really like this foot for this. That's really a scant 1/4 inch foot, so if I just let that center line right up against that foot, I'm going to have a nice scant 1/4, which gives me more triangle to square up, which is what you want, especially if you're using a block lock or you're not super comfortable with half square triangles. Okay, so now we are going to, we've sewn on either side. Now we are going to cut directly down the center on that line. So let me zoom in a little bit for you guys so you can see that we are going to cut it straight down the center on that line. And that gives us 2 half square triangles. And we'll do the same thing here. Alright, there we go. So we are going to take the dark side, which is the giraffe color, and we're going to hit it with an iron just to set it. Then I'm going to take it and just open it and roll it back with my fingers lightly, because you really don't want to distort it. So I'm just running my nails along that seam, and we'll just do that and lightly just kind of finger press it so that, again, we're not distorting it. And then we're gonna press it. And I'm just laying it on there. And I'll just smooth it out lightly. And there we have our half square triangle. So now that we have a gazillion half square triangles, really I think it's only, I don't know how many of these there are. I think there's 48 of them. We are going to square them up. I'm going to use my block lock, and remember, we're using flannel, and this works with flannel just like it does cotton, regular cotton, no big deal. I am trying to be sure, this is strange because I'm at a strange angle, but I'm just trying to be sure there's a little fabric all the way around. And then we are going to just trim it up. And the top. And we're going to rotate it. And we're going to be sure that it's fabric here, fabric here. That should be directly on that now, because this ruler is the exact size of the square that we want. And we're just going to put a little pressure down these 2 sides and trim away any excess. And there we have our nice half square triangle. Now you might not have a block lock, which is fine. We're going to grab a square ruler. Here is my Quilter Select ruler. I love this ruler. It has a 45-degree mark here. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put that 45 on that diagonal and try to line it up perfectly. And I'm going to pull it down so that I can see a little fabric on the outside and the outside. You want it to be a little bit longer, more than the size that you want. So I'm just making sure that's there, and then we're just going to trim this off here and trim this off here. Just be sure I got that. I did. Nice. And so we're going to take the fabric, rotate it around, and put it exactly at the size that I want with that 45-degree angle going down. Here we are. And we're going to trim off any excess. And we should have a very nice half square triangle. Now all we have to do is take our gazillion half square triangles and line them up so that they make the chevron, which I think is going to be like this. This is going to be like that. And then this is going to go, I don't know, like that. And then we're just going to keep going. Yes, that's correct. Let's lay it out. Nothing really amazing about this except for make triangles. Make lots and lots of triangles. So here I'm making giraffe triangles. Next I will make polka dot triangles. And it's just that simple. This is such a fun quilt. And I actually want to cuddle with it. It's really nice, which makes me want to work with flannel more. I haven't worked with flannel before, but definitely plan on working with flannel in the future. So I've stacked all of my squares in packets of, not packets, in little stacks of 6. Then you make a triangle with these two, triangle with the giraffe print. Then for the next row, you're going to make a triangle with the background, the dot, the dot, the dot. Super duper simple. I'm going to sew them together like this. And then I'm going to sew those together, and then you add the border, and then your quilt is done. Let's do it. As you can see, we are all finished piecing this. I want to say it's 8 rows, all chevroned up. So now I'm just going to measure. I folded this in half. I'm going to measure what it is, and then I'm going to cut a border strip off of that one strip that we pieced together. And it looks like this measures 25, right on the money. So I'm going to cut a strip down off the border strip that we did. That is 25 in half, so 50 inches. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side and sew these puppies on. I'm going to pin it and then sew it, and then we're good. Nothing really crazy happening here, but you do want to be sure to make sure your rows line up and make sure that your border strip fits nice and taut, and there you have it. Easy peasy. If you haven't done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will definitely check you guys out on the next one. Let me know what 3-yard quilts you want to see next. Okay, bye-bye.